Hello there YouTube, my name is Katy and you're watching my channel Superconsole, where today I'm going to talk about Fire Emblem Fates, Birthright versus Conquest, the key differences between the two games and which path is right for you personally. Yes, you. When we first heard that Intelligent Systems was splitting Fire Emblem Fates into two with an additional DLC route called Revelation, there was a tad bit of confusion in the community, with many speculating that the games would be virtually the same with very minor story differences, kinda like the Pokemon series. But as it turns out, Birthright and Conquest are two very different games, and therefore require a bit of consideration before you jump right in and pick up the one with the prettiest cover art, which is obviously Birthright, so 1 point to them. Up until Chapter 6, the two games play out pretty much the same, with the same tutorial missions, character creation steps and story sequence. But by Chapter 7, the game splits off into two very different routes, based on which game you picked up and therefore which path you chose. Birthright has been dubbed the Path of Peace and sees you returning to your bloodlines with the royal family of Hoshido, where you were once kidnapped from as a child by the Norians. In Conquest, you side with your adopted family and the beloved Norian siblings you grew up with, in the path of Revolution. But with each decision comes difficulty, as your Hoshidan relatives in Birthright are still a little bit suspicious of you, and need to learn to trust and accept you. While in Conquest, King Garon rules Nor with an iron fist, and is generally a bit of a terror, so you'll need to undo all of his evil doings and whatnot. But what else is different? Well, a lot really. The characters you meet, make friends with, and eventually get down and dirty with are almost completely different depending on which game you pick up. There are only a few playable units which are shared between Birthright and Conquest, such as Azura, the songstress and kidnapped princess of Nor, Felicia, Silas, Kaze and Jacob, who will be your ally regardless of your personal quest, amongst others like the Hoshidan villager Mozu, Asura, a thief from Nor, and Izana, and all those other names that I've probably pronounced wrong. In terms of character and class exclusivity, there are 26 playable characters in Conquest and 27 in Birthright. The Hoshidan classes are ninja shuriken wielders, Oni savages who wield clubs and have high strength and defense stats like Rinka, shrine maidens who act as healers, and diviners who use spirit magic like Hayato. In Conquest, classes include Malignites who tame evil dragons or equipped with axes, like the busty Camilla, adventurers who are basically treasure seekers with bows, and wolfskins who are human-beast hybrids with high strength and speed stats, like the wonderfully named Flannel. Butlers and maids pop up in both versions of the game and use shurikens like Flora. It's worth remembering though that there is a scouting system for captured soldiers, so it's possible to use certain classes from the enemy side too. In terms of marriage, Fates brings back the option to marry and have children with your favourite units. Hurrah! There's also a host of different options depending on what gender your avatar is and what version of the game you picked up. It's also worth noting that in Conquest there's a bisexual male called Niles, a former thief who can marry the male avatar, and in Birthright there's a bisexual female called Raja, the daughter of Hayato, who can marry the female avatar and looks a lot like Tharja. Like, really a lot. I think they're the same. They're the same. Let's move on to gameplay, and here's probably where the key differences lie. In Birthright, the playstyle can be likened to Fire Emblem Awakening in terms of a battle system, and is generally considered the more newbie-friendly of the two titles. In order to make the game accessible to rookies, you will always be able to replay older maps to grind for more experience points, or new classes. Objectives are also a bit simpler, like eliminate all enemy units, or take down the commander, which also allows you to happily transfer your opponents while thinking about the more important things in life, like which of these units will you be wedding next. Conquest on the other hand don't have free battles and generally puts you into more difficult scenarios. This path limits you to 28 playable missions only before the game ends, which means that you need to manage which characters to raise and what money to use very carefully. And unlike Birthright, you won't be able to replay missions on the world maps once they've been cleared, making every level up kill and strategic move essential. The game also makes it much more likely for you to lose important units in early chapters. I'm pretty sure in Chapter 7 straight away, if you make the wrong move, a really key character can die, so watch out for that. In terms of chapter objectives, this playstyle is much more like the older iterations of the Fire Emblem series, asking you to capture specific enemies and defend locations. Essentially, when it comes down to deciding which game to pick up, Birthright or Conquest, it's worth having a scroll through the Fire Emblem's Fates Wikia page to look through the possible marriage options, thinking about different classes and basically deciding if you're a rookie and therefore more suited to Birthright playstyle, or prefer a bit more of a challenge with Conquest. Personally, despite being a reasonably long-standing fan of the series, I think I'll be siding with my royal family buddies in the Hoshido clan, because I'm a vain gamer and I think the guys on that side are just a bit prettier. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video interesting and possibly insightful, maybe helping you decide which game you're going to be picking up. I'd love to hear what you think about Fire Emblem Fates and which version you'll be picking up when it comes out in February for the US, and possibly sometime this year for the rest of the world. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!